Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Boulder Literacy, the series where we break down world-class climbing content so that we don't just watch, we watch and learn. Today takes us to Prague for the 2024 World Cup, the penultimate event of the season. These are the 6 ladies who will be competing today. This first boulder of the finals is broken down into 2 moves. The zone, which involves a big dynamic move to the left with a no-tex hold for stabilization. From there, the athletes must perform a tricky stand-up, and then we get a tiny bit of slab climbing to finish off the top. We kick things off with Anon, who's only 20 years old, and already has 1 bouldering bronze medal to her name from 2023. We see her struggling a bit to get to the zone, but eventually she gets it to land. While standing, she slips off. On her next go, she nails the zone and the stand-up, and then makes the top look easy from there. Let's dive into what she learned on the zone move. She begins by giving a little extra hop when jumping from this volume to the last one, which allows her to land with her left foot higher up on the volume. It's also a bit farther to the left. This allows her to keep her hips much closer to the wall. Notice how much more upright her torso is. Now, on both these attempts, her left foot ends up slipping, but on the first one, there's nothing below her foot, so it pops off. But the second time, it ends up catching perfectly lower on the volume. Also, with her hips more over to the left, it allows her to fall slightly left, keeping her momentum. When she fails, it's because her momentum starts heading away from the wall instead of purely to the left. As far as the top move, at first she tries to stabilize with her left hand on the purple hold, but she isn't able to create enough body tension. She ends up palming the volume instead and is able to make that work. This time, the palm comes a little later, which is perfect timing to counterbalance the right leg swinging out. Our second athlete is Mao Nakamura, who gets to the zone quickly at first, but isn't able to stand up. She has trouble repeating her success on the zone, but she does make it up there 3 more times. Unfortunately, she never stands up successfully and leaves the boulder untopped. We see Zalia Avizu struggling hard with the zone move. She falls quite a few times and doesn't get to the zone until the last 30 seconds. She stands up no problem, but with time ticking down, she can't secure both hands on the top. We'll go over that part in a bit, but for the moment, let's focus on her zone attempts. Zalia's success looks much different than her failures, and she kicks it off literally by pushing super hard with her right foot and bending her right knee. Note how she's really pointing the inside edge of her right foot at the wall and spreading her hips. The hips trail behind her to the right, but they remain high enough in the air. Her left foot lands in about the same place on both attempts, but because she's doing the splits midair on her success, she's able to set it down more softly. Notice how compact her torso is. She's fully locked off and keeps the majority of her mass low. Our fourth competitor is the young Nile, hot off winning the European Boulder Championship in August. She continues to show dominance in this discipline, cruising through this problem for a flash. It's very early to say this, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's one of the top contenders in 2028 when the Olympics come to LA. She's progressing quite quickly and seems to effortlessly flow through the competition-style boulders. She's followed by Osh McKenzie, who I really enjoyed watching in Paris. After a few small slip-ups, she shows off that strength and length on the stand-up and finish. Let's see what we can learn from her. To get the zone, Osh twists her right knee to bring the outside edge of her right foot toward the wall, instead of having her right toe pointed at the wall. This results in a smoother swing of her right leg. The swing starts later, and she's able to at least keep her knee close to the center, instead of letting the whole leg flail. When she stands her left foot on the volume, she also learns to keep the heel up for a split second. This moment where her left toe is engaged keeps her left leg in more of a lunge position. These 2 things combine to result in her hips being more vertical. Note how much closer her right hip is toward the wall. She also learns to let go of her left hand sooner when standing up. With her hand stuck on the zone hold, her left shoulder is super low. On her success, she trusts the foot more and just stands on it. Her shoulders are much more level, and her torso is less bent, making it a ton easier to balance in that position. She's able to straighten her left knee just a bit more, which helps her get her hips higher and her chest as well. Note that her right elbow is at 90 degrees, instead of doing a big reach. Finally, notice how her right leg comes out, so that her legs are more spread when she grabs the crimp. Without this, her right leg swings violently right, because it's counterbalancing her left arm. By putting it out right herself, she's in control of the balance. Our final competitor is Natalia, who's definitely looking to make a statement here. In the past 5 years, she is one of only 2 athletes who have beaten Janja head-to-head in a bouldering competition, so you know that she was a real threat to win gold in Paris. I'm sure that not making the finals there has given her extra motivation for years to come. Natalia struggles a bit getting to the zone, but when she does, she has it locked down. She does run into some more trouble with the stand, but once she gets that, it's smooth sailing to the top. To get to the zone, Natalia takes a shorter step with her left foot. She focuses more on bending her waist, and her left leg goes into a lunge. Her right toe is totally activated. This means that her left foot doesn't slip off its high placement on the volume. For the top, the footage cuts out, but she does it similarly to Osh. Note the left hand and left shoulder. To wrap this video up, let's examine Zalia's difficulties finishing the route. We can see she has her hips way to the left in the corner, while Osh demonstrates the more standard beta of keeping them between her 2 legs. Comparing to Natalia, we see that she does a gentle palm with her left arm to keep her weight to the right. This allows her to keep weight on that right toe until she's ready to twist it. Nile does the same method as Zalia, but she finishes in a slightly better way. Her hips are perpendicular to the wall, letting her get the right hip way into the corner. This prevents the barn door that haunts Zalia. Nile's left heel is also higher, and thus her left knee can be more bent. You can really see how her foot and hands create a line, and all the weight of her torso and legs is hanging to the left of those 2 points. But since it's hanging into a corner, she's completely stable. The standings after this first boulder leave 4 athletes with a top, while Mao and Zalia are a bit behind. MVP of the day goes to Nile. Join us tomorrow for boulder number 2.